I want to talk to you about something really, really, really important this morning. It's this. No, it's not about cleaning my glasses. It's about the water that I used to clean my glasses. And, I've been thinking about this social distancing. Obviously, we're in the middle of this lockdown, isolation, what people are calling social distancing. And the word just doesn't work for me, social distancing. I'm sure children are confused by social distancing, like I'm trying to close social distance with you right now by being on this camera. My point is simply that I think it would be helpful to talk to children about this as in terms of breath, because this is the problem, and this is why we need to stay apart. Every time I exhale, every time you exhale, not only do we exhale air, but we also exhale water. That's how I can clean my glasses, by fogging my glasses, right? It's the water. And coronavirus lives in the lungs, in the water, in the lungs. COVID-19 is a respiratory disease, and it is spread by inhaling the virus from someone else, or by touching something that someone else has breathed on, and then, touching your mouth, your nose, your eyes. So I think that it would be helpful to explain this to children, that the reason they need to stay at home, the reason they can't go to school, the reason they can't play with their friends, it's not about social distancing. We want them to be social, thank God we have the internet, thank God we have this means now. Back in 1918, the Spanish flu, they certainly didn't have this channel to be social with each other with. Anyway, the point is that I think it would be helpful to explain to children that it's about breath isolation, not social isolation. That we simply need to be careful not to breathe on each other for a while. Every time you breathe out, again, you're breathing out not only air, but several other things, water being the main one we're talking about today. It's a shame that there isn't a test for coronavirus that could be done like a breathalyzer. There are all kinds of tests that are done analyzing people's breath. Take an alcohol breathalyzer, for instance. If you get stopped and the police officer thinks you're drunk, what do? You breathe into a breathalyzer, because it can measure the alcohol content in your exhale, in the water in your exhale. So I don't know if I haven't heard about this, but it seems logical that maybe, hopefully, there will be a breath test that people could take to find out if the virus is in their breath. Okay, so back to my main point. The reason that we need to stay apart is because every time you exhale not only air, but also water vapor, and it travels out from your mouth and your nose, not real far, but 2 or 3 feet. And if you sneeze or if you cough, it goes much further. It can go 4, 5, 6 feet. So the rule of thumb is you don't want to breathe within 6 feet of another person. And unfortunately, you don't have to be sick They don't have to be sick for this transmission to take place. If we did have symptoms earlier, then it wouldn't be as problematic, as dangerous to just go walking out, But even before you have symptoms, you are contagious. So I could have it right now, even though I feel perfectly fine. I'm certainly not sick. It's possible that I have it at this moment. And so I don't want to be breathing on anyone else. And likewise, I don't know, maybe you have it, so I don't want to be inhaling what you're exhaling. And then the one other point is, the other really important point is that, then there are the surfaces like doorknobs and tables, things like that, because every time you exhale, these tiny little micro droplets of water, which could have the virus in them, falls onto a tabletop, onto a surface. Like if I were to breathe onto the glass at the door before I go in the store, then viruses could be on that piece of glass. They could be on the doorknob, like if I touch my face and I have the virus and I touch the doorknob, that doorknob's going to have the virus on it in the water that I just put on that doorknob. And the virus can live on hard surfaces such as plastic, stainless steel, for 2 or 3 days. So this is why you need to wash your hands. This is why the big thing about hand washing is so important, because the virus can live for 2 or 3 days on hard surfaces. But again, just to recap and bring this to a closure, I think it would be helpful, we have an opportunity here to bring more awareness just to breathing in general by explaining why we need to be isolating. It's all about not breathing on each other and not spreading the virus, if we have it, by our breath, by the micro droplets of water that come out with our breath, by them falling on surfaces, or by our hands, which we've, you don't even have to touch your face. If you're breathing and your hands are in front of you, guess what? The micro droplets are falling on your hands. So it's your breath, it's what you touch, but it's all centered around breathing. And I think that this is an opportunity to raise more awareness about breathing in general and keep our kids safe. Thank you for listening.